So last Saturday, feels like yesterday, we talked about one of the chief points I tried to communicate was a sense of humor, to have a sense of humor. Well, I've been gone the last week on a retreat with priests at the Bishop Lane Retreat Center, and boy, did having a sense of humor come in handy. It's amazing. Furthermore, because I did not get to preach all week, because I was on this retreat, and last week I had to read the letter from Monsignor Deutsch and then Monsignor Hermes points. Today, I expect to be a very, very long homily. Besides a sense of humor, in today's gospel, what jumps out at you? One word jumps out at you. What would it be? Gratitude. Good answer. Gratitude. Gratitude also serves us very well, doesn't it? Again, I can end the homily right there. If you were able to take those 2 points and narrow them down to your own experience, sense of humor and gratitude, they define a lot of people. You want to see a good example of someone who embodies those 2 virtues? Deacon Ralph. 86, still moving forward. Great sense of humor, a lot of gratitude. He's grateful that the Lord is allowing him the health to serve at this Mass. And he's grateful for it. I know a lot of grateful people. I know a lot of ungrateful people. It is something within your control. It's not like the weather. We all have an interior climate. Put on the gratitude button. There are young people especially. There are always going to be things you do not have. Focus more on the things that you do have. Now, there's a great movement in gratitude. Because it's not just a feeling or an experience. It becomes a state of existence. I live in the state of gratitude. Well, how did you get there? Everything's a gift to me. I didn't make myself. I didn't give myself my parents, my education, my faith. It's all mediated to me. I've been the recipient. If anything else, I've been fortunate enough to learn how to receive and be mindful. He loved me first, right? He called me first. So, huge point. And as you move into a state of gratitude, from just a feeling of gratitude, then you mature to not just be grateful for the gifts, and they are enormous. You go through the gifts into the giver, and you love God for who He is, not for what He does for you, or what He promises you, or what He gives you. That's all fine. But there's a higher way to love God. I think of Job, who had everything and lost everything. And he says, the Lord, we thank God when He gives us good things. Should we not also thank Him when His providence somehow leaves us with the short end of the stick? Remember Job? The Lord has given, the Lord has taken. I came into this world with nothing, I'm going out with nothing. Blessed be the name of the Lord. But folks, you know this at this age we're in. And our young people are especially prone to this. The marketing, the media, the consumerism, they aggravate our appetites. Nobody has a big meal. I'm just telling you. I struggle gluttony once in a while. Once in a while. Okay, I can tell you restaurants I struggle with that. But after a big meal, you're full for a little while, then it comes back with a vengeance. That's that bad joke about Chinese food, 3 hours later, you're hungry. The point is, you don't really satisfy appetites just for a short while. Spiritually speaking, by taking too much of something, we aggravate them. And it becomes a further problem of give me. Fill this need, fill this need. So we got to move from thanking God for what we've received, what He promises us. And so many things. I can speak for myself. I'm so absent-minded and so insensitive to the plethora, to just enormity of how God has blessed me. Not the least but in my mother, who's still healthy and still moving and still very spiritual. So we move from the things into God Himself. Now, today's homily is simple. So you got 2 points already. Sense of humor and gratitude. They will serve you well. If you find yourself lacking in either, go back to your faith. Go back to your faith. I got too many people with hard knocks that are smiling. Prisoners, AIDS victims, 80 people. Too many people. I've seen it. And the best book, what was the best selling book in 48 or 50, was A Man's Search for Meaning. Who wrote it? Victor Frankl. And he was in a concentration camp. And here's his observation. If you're down on your luck and you think I'm wrong, because someone has to think I'm wrong, you all can't agree with me. And every given holiday, I got about 10% agreeing, 50% not sure, 40% more than what I said. So, see if you disagree with this. Victor Frankl made this observation in a concentration camp. The worst of the worst. I mean, a living hell on earth, if you can. You conceive of this. He said he watched with his own eyes certain inmates, certain people who were in a concentration camp, save food for less fortunate people, for the crippled, for the sick, for the starving, for the freezing. So he said he was able to conclude from that one experience that even in the midst of a concentration camp, this is Victor Frankl talking, some people were able to sacrifice and rise above the enormity of the difficulties to look out for another human being. That's profound. We get someone in the parking lot after Mass going too slow, right? Don't you know the early bird special room? 4 to 6. But it's true. And I love the ID class. I'm impatient when there's no cars in the parking lot. So, huge points. Now, today's gospel, we got three simple headings for you to remember. Called, come, and go. Come, called, and go. The lepers were called. Well, you read the story. You're like, wait a minute, Father. The lepers weren't called. The lepers called Jesus. But I'm saying they were called. They were called in 2 ways. One, in our sickness, in our weaknesses, in our spiritual struggles, God invites us to depend on Him more completely. What do you think that sickness happened for? How many people have, not everybody, but how many people have had cancer, are struggling with cancer right now, who are right with God, who've used the illness to go right with God, and did not let the illness or the sickness or the tragedy define them? And I'm not blaming you. There's a lot of people who have similar losses or cancer. I'm not blaming you. It's defined you. It's defined you. And some say it's not going to define me. I'm not going to be defined by that. But you lost your kid. Your husband died. I'm the saddest person on the earth. My hope in Jesus Christ tells me they're alive, they're happy, and I'm going to see them again. You have a choice in this matter. I'm not belittling how difficult it may be. But even though they yelled out to Jesus put the illness in them to awaken them. What were they called to? What are we called to? To awaken. To our dignity, our need for Jesus. And hopefully, besides our need, our want and our love for Jesus. So He awakens them to receive His love, to experience the joy of His promise of resurrection. He awakens us to gratitude. Second point, He was passing by. Jesus, He's God. He knew they'd be passing by. When I tell you my last point is going to go and tell somebody, you're supposed to be, we're supposed to be Jesus to these people. We can't go back to our homes, our workplace, or wherever we came from, and just turn to business as usual. Something has to have happened in us for us to be convincing. There's got to be a change in our life for us to call people forth to God. We are God's hands, feet, and mouth. And too often we got to use the mouth. Not condemn, not judge, not be righteous. Hey, this is so easy. Have you thought about going to Mass recently? What's the worst thing to do? Oh, come on. No, really. My priest has been on me like for 6 months now, and I thought I would just ask. Because I really works for me. I'm really enjoying it. My kids are enjoying it. You know, we knew this 50 years ago, and it's even more true today. We gotta get our kids in church. Without feeling called, our children with their other voices. As I mentioned, materialistic, consumeristic, marketing voices. Buy this, wear that. Get caught up in the passing fan. So not only in our illness does Jesus use that so we can depend on Him, let's have the poor in spirit and realize we're dependent on God, need to trust Him more. He's also passing by at many opportune times. And you, my friends, are called to be in His name, the one who passes by the others and stops. Hey, it might not be physical leprosy. It might be sin. It might be a social inadequacy, emotional trouble. Those people sometimes are the hardest for us to deal with, and how much more we are called to deal with them. So that's the call. Then He says, "Come." He calls them, and they tell him to go show themselves to the priest. What's fascinating is, before they even get to where they're going, they're healed. And that's a profound thought. I was thinking about this a lot. Once you start the journey of faith, once you start it, you hear the call, you're awoken. And now you start, I'm not doing that at the cell here. Slowly I turn. You know that one, right? No, we're not doing that. But as an image, we're walking closer towards Jesus. I don't know about you. I've seen it in confession. People's lives change almost immediately. Once Jesus Christ becomes a serious priority in your life, not just part of it, but the leading agenda item on your schedule, things change. There's a weight lifted off. How many people in confession, they walk out, there's a weight lifted off. I don't have to put myself in the muck anymore and feel guilty about myself. But the Lord has picked me up and brushed me off. There's a great sense of healing and beginning the journey, which, if you're doing it right, it only gets better as we rely more and more on Christ. So to me, the come is, move nearer to me. Look, in any relationship, it's no different with Jesus. It should be easier with Jesus. I don't know why it's so hard. Especially marriage and moving towards marriage, the courtship. What's the question? The courtiers? I don't know if that's the right term. Those courting each other are asking. Come nearer to me. Be vulnerable to me. Trust in me. Christ is saying the exact same things. Wherever you are in the spiritual life, whether you're Mother Teresa hiding in the pew, or you're, I can't use that guy's name, but you're one of those other characters out there. You're here. You've obviously got the call. You showed up. Let's all turn up the volume a little bit on our spiritual exercises. You know, a week away from answering phones and visiting hospitals and doing the priest does. It was awesome. Of course I missed you. I missed you terribly. I cried, missing you. Yes, it still hurts. It still hurts me deeply. Wow, I just lied from the pulpit. I'm very sorry. I apologize. I ask for God's forgiveness, and I will try not to do that again. So he's telling us to come and do what? Do what you're doing. Show respect. You show yourself to the priest. Why? Because at this gathering, it is not just a ritual of the church. It's not just a mechanical routine of liturgy. These are the actions of Christ. Too many people are missing it. We've got to change our language. You're missing Mass. Not a big deal. You don't go to church. Not a big deal. You're missing the love banquet of Christ. Don't you want to be in that? And again, I'm being a little sincere here. You tell me. If you find me, you haven't called me. Somebody with a right mind, who's not got some agenda or has been deeply hurt, but you show somebody with a right mind who would honestly turn down the love of God. Why? Whose life would not be improved and gotten even much better? So he calls us to respect, to the awe, to the worship, to the loyalty, to the honoring of his name, to talking about his name. Which leads me to my third point. He says to the poor man, has none but this foreigner returned to give thanks to God? Again, that's what you did. See, we're the lepers. We came for the Eucharist. We came to give thanks to God. That's what the Eucharist is. You are fulfilling a major purpose for which God created you. I hope you feel good about that. You should feel good about that. That for whatever reason, in this very moment, you're exactly where God wants you. And you're about to receive it. And exaltate and glorify God. Now, there's only one more thing missing. You were called and you came. When it's over, you got to go armed with a mission. They didn't say armed with a mission. Dedicated to the mission. You have to feel like, again, back to talking to others about Christ. I'm not going to give this up. I don't know how to give this up. We are losing numbers. The Catholic Church, the Christianity, following Christ more faithfully, we're losing numbers all across the board. We're just tired. And I'm not a humble kind of guy. But I told you the football games I go to. You go to those high school football games. Where are all those kids? I don't know how many kids live in this neighborhood. They're not church. So we got to work. We got to accept this task from Christ. So stand up, Jesus says. When it's time, stand up. For your faith helps and heals in this life. Tell everybody that. You know, we don't talk about this enough. What are the benefits of our Christianity? We have somewhere to go. We have intimacy with God. We feel purposeful. We have an undying hope that even death does not shadow. And we have a mission to invite others along and get them back to Christ. So tell everybody about the benefits of God, the way He helps, the way He heals, and tell everybody that Jesus saves, not just in this life.